Once you make sure that your libraries are in the right place, you have to say right click and build project. So building the project actually builds it, and if there are any problems, it will indicate here. So right now we have warnings, which is okay. If you have errors, it is something that you will have to take care. Alright, now once we have built it, we are going to see stuff out in webinf classes and webinf lib. Let me take you through web.xml, which is what describes this entire Java dynamic application. So web.xml is located under webinf and it has certain things. Number one, there is a display name where you have to put in the name of the project. That is strictly for display purposes, really doesn't have any meaning in terms of the project itself. We have certain Spring declarations, and we will run through these as I show you each of these components. So 1, 2, 3 are Spring declarations. Spring is a framework. It is also a lightweight container, and it does a lot of things. Once we start going through each of the different components, you will understand how much Spring actually has an impact on this web application. Alright, the next thing we have is a servlet definition called startup servlet, and I'm saying load on startup s2, which means that this particular servlet will actually run its init method when the Java application starts. I have another servlet defined, which is the DWR servlet, which is basically for Ajax calling. Ajax is asynchronous calling. We are not currently using it, but we will use it at some point. And that is also a load on startup. This mapping is of a lot of importance. We are mapping all HTML URL patterns to Spring App. What this means is, let us say our application is sitting out on a website called Java Training. So a URL call like www.javatraining.com/stockapp/home.html will map to a servlet called Spring App, and Spring App itself is sitting here as a servlet pointing to a dispatcher servlet. That is the way web configurations work. You map a URL to a servlet, and that servlet points to an existing class. Now this class is sitting inside spring.jar. We are not going to write this class. At some point we will also walk through each of the jars, not each of the jars, but some of the jars, to give you some idea. The other thing that is of importance here, this DWR mapping, yes, we will use it at some point, and then we have a welcome file list, which basically means that the default file that will be used is index.one of these.